Very warm welcome from me. I'm Robin Mellon. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Supply Chain Sustainability School. And so we're delighted to work with the Responsible Construction Leadership Group around sustainable site facilities and the resources, the information that is contained therein. Many of you will have seen this already. There are templates for site facilities requirements and how things can be improved over time. What does better look like?
I was approached by the Responsible Construction Leadership Group rep at the time. His name was Darren. He came to me and he said, "Have you heard of this Sustainable Site Sheds Facilities business?" I said, "No, please tell me about it." He said, "Well, we've gotten together. There's this great group of people at the Responsible Construction Leadership Group, and we've developed these specs with the industry to look at sustainable site sheds. Can you put it in your update of your rating scheme?" And I said, "Actually, we can do one better. We can also develop it as an innovation challenge."
This is a real bugbear for me, I apologise, but this grey vinyl is soul destroying. It really is. Like, it makes you feel depressed.
The major contractors really believe that if they don't lead the industry, then the industry is not going to go forward. We started a project in 2015 which resulted in a report relating to mega projects. And you might ask, well, why is that relevant to what we're talking about today? Well, governments and industry could improve the cost by somewhere in the order of 20% without too much difficulty. And then you start to think, maybe there's something worthwhile in looking at changing the culture, changing procurement, really making an adjustment. And sustainable site facilities are regarded as a very important component of demonstrating to workforces and other parties that an organisation is serious.
This is a project that's near to me. We've been working on this for the last 3 years. It came out of the innovation challenge that was put out by the Green Building Council. Now, what we said in the RCLG was, this is a fantastic innovation challenge. Is there some way of teasing out the common characteristics that we could apply to all site sheds such that everybody was procuring, as Matt mentioned earlier, off a common baseline?
So our first site standards were piloted back in 2008. What's interesting is over that period of time, obviously we still have sheds from 2008, of course we do. So we have a number of minimum standards, and I'll quickly tell you a couple of them, but the ones that specifically relate to our site accommodation, our sheds, really are around things like making sure we have water efficient toilets and taps and those kinds of things, which the building standards, building codes are greatly improving themselves. One of the other ones is door closers on external swing doors. So, we see a massive energy waste in having doors wide open with the air conditioning blaring away. Then we have a huge list, as long as your arm, of optional initiatives that we would like our sites to look at. And this is where we ask our shed suppliers to provide things like more energy efficient air conditioning, better quality lighting, sensors. So we have a number of principles with our next place, designing our new workspace. The first thing was around health and well-being. We wanted to ensure that we had a platinum rated site shed that really focused on the health and well-being initiatives. The specific ones around low VOC paints, natural lighting, things like carpet on the floor, which low VOC carpet, which we think is a great thing for thermal comfort. This is a site office that accommodates about 80 workers in a large open plan space that's about 30 metres by 50 metres. And what we found by accommodating them in this one big space, we could actually drop about 30% of the number of sheds we would normally provide off. So that has helped to fund some of the improvements in the finishes and the quality of construction. Lots of plants, we've got a green wall in there, big central green wall space. Lots of colour on the walls, that's the thing we're trying to encourage our teams.
From mid next year, projects that are getting rated through our rating scheme will need to decide whether or not they want to get some points and put sustainable site facilities on their project. And they can also decide from today, from this very moment, if they would like to create an innovation challenge, get 2 more points, and get some sustainable site sheds on their sites today.
We're here talking about sustainability, obviously. The business has been implementing improvements as they become cost effective.
Yep.
And the customers are willing to pay. So that's how we've approached it. I guess the biggest thing that I'm seeing is just the amount of staff on sites, the amount of large complexing that's going on and the workers there and their facilities that are required are just growing as the infrastructure grows.
We're seeing that change has actually been driven through legislation mostly. It's not often coming from industry creating a singular voice about something. It's normally around legislation or a risk management against some terrible thing.
So Metro prides itself on its sustainability. When it first started in 2011, 2012, it wrote a sustainability strategy. There were about 32 commitments made in that sustainability strategy, but essentially tells all our contractors that we would like them to consider a lot of these things: energy efficiency, lighting, water saving, natural ventilation. Something that we thought was going to be acceptable to the contractors. Now, the driver for that was purely efficiency. It was energy efficiency essentially, and it was efficiency on water. You'll see the wonderful catchphrase there: we're reasonable and feasible. In reality, that is what you see is what you get. This is 90% of what they see on site.
The construction sector is losing a lot of people to other industries. They're going to work for banks or lawyers, or going forward, the board of ACA is saying, well, we're not going to attract young people into the industry, particularly professional young engineers or others, and the diversity of that workforce, if the industry cannot provide the sort of work environment that those people are looking for.
We'll see people move from one job to another, and part of their issue will be a bit more money, and it's a much better place to work.
This is what you do to get good staff. This is the new normal.
A space that makes it feel like you could hose it down at the end of the day doesn't make you feel valued as a person. It's like, we don't even trust you to look after this space we provided.
The thing which lifted the standard was the users. Users giving suppliers consistent standards that you expect is what we love. And I think that's why it will improve over time, because there's a compelling investment reason for us, which is that over the long term, this is where the standard's going, that's what we're looking for, and everybody's going to want it.
We need to get more, idea of what your timeline expectations are. Because this product won't be available early next year. It probably won't be available until even late next year or mid next year.
I'm encouraged by the amount of work that has been put into this by the Responsible Construction Leadership Group. I'm also encouraged by the appetite for innovation, for how do we make these things better, and the discussions around timelines. So that market certainty that can be offered, so that that consistency can be delivered.
So from an Office of Environment and Heritage perspective, which has supported the RCLG, our perspective is that this is something we'd like and would expect industry to adopt the standard, and that's going to be important. It's going to bring about the change that we need. So again, just like to thank all the partners, all the people involved, Lendlease, RCLG, Janelle for looking after the RCLG, and all the members. Thanks very much. Cheers.